Happy New Year's, you guys. I hope you're doing well. For today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys an eyeshadow palette declutter. Now, I actually did a palette declutter, I want to say about 3-4ish months ago. I got rid of a ton there, so I'm going to have that video linked down below if you guys want to check that out. Since then, I actually have now purchased one eyeshadow palette, which is crazy for me. And more than ever these days, I feel like I'm much more selective when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. I don't just purchase to purchase anymore. I don't purchase every little thing alive either. And I really try to get, you know, palettes that I feel like I personally will love and enjoy and actually use, not just keep here for storage purposes. So I was going through my makeup and I actually might want to get rid of my Alex drawer unit. So I might get rid of these drawers, put it like in storage, just because I feel like I've had this for a while and I just want a little bit of something different. I do have these drawers, which I really like, but I don't think it's going to make sense for eyeshadow palettes. I think I'm going to use those for maybe like even bronzers and blushes. I think it's a really good size now, considering that I don't have way too much makeup. It'd be great for lip products as well. It's not overly big, but not too small. So it'll be great for, I feel like, everything else besides for my palettes. I'll have to figure out something else for these, but that's also a reason why I kind of want to downsize a little bit. I believe I have 32 palettes in total. I want to try to narrow it down to 15 or less, which is like crazy to me because who am I? Now I will tell you guys, I'm not including my mini Natasha Denona palettes. These are just tried and true to me for the most part, and I do want to just like collect them all because they're great for traveling and they're just amazing little ones. So I'm kind of like putting these aside. They were also not in my previous declutter video, so not including those. I might have some of these up on my Poshmark as well as other items at a very affordable price. I'll have my Poshmark linked down below if you guys are interested. Okay, so let's get started with a palette that I'm gonna say goodbye to. So that's gonna be this right here by Urban Decay. This is the Naked Honey palette. A lot of these palettes I am decluttering because since my previous declutter, I have not touched these and I just kind of feel like they're taking up space and I'm not really just like using them. I love the color story of this one. I think it's gorgeous, but if you take away these two shades here, it really is just like a neutral brown tone palette, which I have a decent amount of. So I think I also might have this like honey style shade, maybe like in a different palette. It's actually not even swatching the bestest, so yeah, I feel like since this came out, there were other palettes that came out that are just better. So I'm gonna say goodbye to this one. It did serve its purpose at its time and I loved it for a very long time, but you know, it hasn't been loved by me in a bit. So I'm gonna declutter that. I am going to keep this though. This is such a beautiful one. I haven't purchased an ABH palette in a long time, but this right here is just, oh, I'm obsessed. You guys seem to love it too. Anytime I wear this, you guys are always asking me, hey, what do you have on your eyes? When I purchased it, this shade here was like kind of like cracked, like broken, so I didn't really get a feel of what that shade has to offer. But yeah, the pinks in here are great. The mattes are fantastic. These blend really easily, and it really just kind of amps up any look, even if it just has more like neutral tones, because most of these metallic shades have like almost like two colors to it. It really just adds like a punch, you know. It's really pretty, so I love it. I still have to give it more love. I haven't used this one yet, but the other shades that I've used, I'm so good. I'm obsessed. So definitely keeping her. I'm gonna declutter these little guys here by Elf Cosmetics. I do like these. I think that they're fantastic quality, especially for the price, but I'm trying not to keep duplicates, at least at this point in my life, in my collection. This is such a good like green yellow tone palette, and this shade actually is similar to the one in the honey palette, but this I feel like is a little bit better. So this is a jalapeno one. I'm gonna declutter that mainly because I have this by Colourpop and I prefer this so much more. Well, the Elf one is very good, so I'm decluttering Elf, right? But this I just feel like has so much more potential for me, and it has like that. This one has a little bit more of like a different undertone compared to the previous yellow I showed you guys in the other palette, but it does have like the greens, and every time I use this, I mean, I mentioned this in many of my declutter videos, but every time I use this specific green palette, I'm just obsessed with green, and normally I'm not a green eyeshadow gal, so I have yet to find one that's better than this one, but this one keeps making it through my declutters because, I mean, they're just butter, and like the combination of the browns and greens together, delish. Keeping it for sure. Next up, oh yeah, so then I do want to get rid of these as well. So since my last declutter, I really have not been using these. This is also like a little bit broken, not sure why, but these are like, you know, traditional shades that I feel like a lot of palettes tend to have. It's a cute little one, but I have those like Natasha Denona ones there. so much better. Why am I out of breath for literally changing sitting positions? Okay, that's where I'm at with my life. This Dunkin palette I'm also going to declutter. I kept it because of the Elf and Dunkin collaboration, but I think the shades just don't perform as well as the other bite-sized palettes by Elf. I wish they were like the same formula, but I mean, I want to declutter it because I haven't used it in a while. I am also going to say goodbye to this palette here. This is the Frosted Strawberry Pop-Tarts palette by Too Faced. So I thought I was going to use this more than I did, but honestly, it just doesn't like spark joy. It doesn't like just add much to the eyes. It's a very like generic palette in a sense, besides for it being like Pop-Tarts and stuff and, you know, a cool collaboration. There really wasn't much I could do with this one that wowed me really. And yeah, I just didn't really have much to play with here personally. So yeah, I'm just gonna say goodbye. It's also not like the best quality, meaning like it doesn't suck, but it's not like the best thing ever that I've ever used. So I'm okay parting ways with this. Next palette, well, let's talk about what I'm gonna keep. So this, I think I'm for sure gonna keep by Pat McGrath. This is the only Pat McGrath palette I own, and I feel like I probably would never get rid of it, but you know what, who knows with me. This is so beautiful. Here, I'll open it here. It's the Utopian Dream palette. I feel like I'm always asked which Pat McGrath palette like you guys should get, like which one do I recommend, and this is definitely it. I feel like you get beautiful warm tones here, and then your pops of colors like these just really transform any look, and they're just so, can you even see? Yeah, just butterness, deliciousness, and I just think that the quality is amazing, very easy to work with, and just really amps up any looks. So I feel like if I really want something a bit extra, this palette really provides it for me, from the different colors to the different, what I want to say, finishes that are included in here. Very pretty, and I'm in love with this one. So it's definitely my baby, keeping her. Okay, next up I have this one right here by Urban Decay. It's the Naked OG palette that I feel like started it all in a way. I used to watch hundreds of reviews on this. So this holds a special place in my heart. It was the first eyeshadow palette that I ever purchased. I remember I saved up my babysitting money to get this. It's very sentimental for me, and that's really why I kept it. I haven't used it in years, you know, but I think I want to declutter it, not to give away or throw in the garbage. I feel like I'm just going to put it like in a keepsake box, but like out of my collection. So it is going to be decluttered, but like not really, but kind of like, yeah. So I mean, we'll see if these shades end up growing mold after another 50 years of keeping this. I'll keep you posted, of course. But yeah, decluttering this, but not really, but kinda. And yeah, I just feel like it's taking up space in my actual collection. I really want to keep this drawer more fresh and keep products that I'm just literally using, not products that are sentimental in a way. Like I'll keep it, but like not here. Okay, another one I'm gonna declutter is the Star Wars Mandalorian palette. This little guy is so cute. This is also one that I thought I was actually going to use more than I did. I do like the color story a lot. I'm very into like the browns and yellows and greens. I feel like they just complement each other very well on the eyes. The quality of this is also very nice, so beyond smooth, like butter galore. Just really pretty tones. I don't gravitate towards this one. And more than anything, if I'm going for such tones, even though the Tinkerbell is just different in tones, I would say. If I'm going for, let's say, green browns, I prefer to use that one, and I rarely go for those colors. So when I do, I'll use a Tinkerbell one. So I'm gonna declutter this. Okay, next up, we have my Patrick Ta palettes here. Keeping both, I love. So this is actually the original one. If I would declutter one, it would probably be this one because I like the second version more. But I don't want to declutter it and be sorry. I'm just waiting to see what else he comes out with. So maybe like, you know, I'll have like the full collection. I'll be able to mix and match the shades. But for now, I still do really like this one. It's a nice, slightly more warm toned, neutral-ish palette that just really creates very pretty looks, very easy looks, everyday looks, and just a wonderful formula to work with. So I'm gonna keep it. And then we have this one, which is specifically called the Major Dimension 2 palette. And you could see it has more of the like warmer, redder tones. You got mattes down here, the metallics. These are also so smooth. Yeah. They almost feel like wet because they're so creamy, but good stuff. And just always, I love using this. It makes me so happy. So keeping this. Next, this will probably come as a major surprise to many of you guys, but this is the Norvina palette. So this has been a love of mine for a very long time. You guys can see I've hit pan on this one. This shade was one of my favorites as well. This pink one I also use a lot, and then this one. Those mainly are, I guess, the 4 shades that I use a lot from this palette. The other ones I use, but not as much. I thought I was gonna keep it, but I think that I'm ready to part ways. I feel like I have a lot of similar tones actually in my personal palette that I created with Ofra Cosmetics. And then when it comes to the other shades, I kind of have stuff like that too. Plus, I know that this is discontinued, so I feel like I just don't tend to use it as much as, you know, I used to. I think I'm gonna end up decluttering it to my sister. I think she'll like really like the color story, but I'm gonna declutter it for my collection and, you know, hopefully give it a better home. Okay, next I have these 2 palettes here by Ofra. So this is personally my palette. I love this. Obviously, I created it. But yeah, like I have like the similar pink shade, this purple shade, the brown, like the burgundy, and then I have like the face powders here. So this is really like an all-in-one for me. I put more of like the warm tone shades here and the cooler shades, so you have like both elements. This palette actually looks somewhat brand new because I did hit pan on many of the other shades. I just opened up a new one maybe like a few months ago. But yeah, it is still available on Ofra site if you want to pick it up, but I'm just really obsessed, so I'm gonna keep it. This is another palette that I created with Ofra, which I am gonna declutter. Well, I mean, it's my palette, I'm not gonna say goodbye to it, but I'm just gonna put it like in a keepsake box and just get rid of it from my actual collection. Loved this. I came out with this maybe like 3-4 years ago at this point. It's just crazy, it's been so long. It was for like the fall time, so like it was more like a pumpkin-y type of palette. I love this a ton. Also with this one, it always surprised me coming up with different like looks, so. Declutter, but not really, but declutter. How funny would that be if I really would throw that in the garbage? That'd be like, we're like, what? Okay, next I have the Teddy Bear palette here by Too Faced. This I'm gonna say goodbye to. It really just doesn't do much for me. When I purchased it, you know, I use it here and there, but the looks that I come up with, I'm not like head over heels with. It just seems very like generic in a way, which I feel like I like saying because, you know, there's a lot of similarities, and if I'm already keeping such a palette, I'd rather keep a different one that gets me more excited, like Natasha Denona or something. But nonetheless, I love these kind of shades, but with this one, it just, I feel like there's something missing in a way. So I'm gonna declutter. Maybe I expected it to be a little bit bigger, more of like, you know, whatever. Anyway, okay, goodbye to that. I'm also going to say goodbye to these. The Physicians Formula, honestly, I keep saying I'm gonna use it, but I just don't. They're very pretty and they're very, very smooth. Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna try to give this a better home. I'm not sure what it is about this one, but maybe because I can't come up with color combinations and it's not like specific shades I'm used to. I'm not sure. But also like one and done shadows, I usually use singular shadows for that, so I won't pop into this drawer for a one and done. And then I just forget about this basically. So I'm gonna say goodbye to that. I am also gonna part ways with the Persona palette. This has been a love of mine also for a while, but I definitely don't use it as much as I used to, and I don't know, I feel like it's just kind of taking space at this point. It's a great quality palette. You can do, you know, you can create a few looks with this one. It's very, very warm tone for the most part, but I mean, it's nice. I just don't reach for it now that we're in 2024 as much. 2024 literally just started. Anyway, I'm gonna declutter this. Okay, then I have this palette here by Tom Ford. This is in Suspicion. Such soft, beautiful tones. This I actually, oh my gosh, I love. Yeah, you see, like I totally forgot about this one because opening up this drawer, I don't even see this almost. So I'm gonna keep it honestly because it is Tom Ford, and this seems like more of a one and done palette, but for this one I'm willing to kind of make that like adjustment. Either I have to put it in my one and done palette drawer or put it in here but in front of my face. I'm not getting rid of it just because it was so pricey, and so I want to make an exception for this one. You know, compared to like the Physicians Formula, I guess I can also put this in the one and done drawer, but I do like the shades of this actually much more. Like I love these, like, oh, it's so pretty, like bronzy tones. So I'm gonna keep this. This is one that I'm gonna declutter. This is the I Love palette by the Sephora Collection brand. This I'm just gonna say goodbye to because it's definitely a little bit more on the older side. The black, these shades here were great. This black was fantastic. This warm matte was also nice, and this brown was beautiful. I mainly used it for these, but now I have other palettes that pretty much have very similar tones from Natasha Denona that I personally prefer. So I really have not also used this in probably like 2 years. I keep saying I will, and I really just don't. So we're gonna part ways, although I really have some fun memories with this one. And yeah, I'm just, you know, I'll keep it in my heart, but I'm gonna say goodbye to this. So probably give it or trash it because it's been a while. Okay, so we're almost done here. I have some Natasha Denona palettes. In my previous declutter video, I did declutter some Natasha Denona palettes, which is crazy for me because it's just not my type. But in that video, I mentioned like I just wasn't using the palettes. I just felt like it was a waste to keep. This I love. I have not given it enough love. Again, you see. But I recently used it again in one of my videos, and you guys just loved the look that I created. I mainly use like these shades and then this on the lids. I still have to dip into these more, like the deeper tones, but I love that the blackest black is here. It's the best thing ever. I use that a lot, and I just think this has amazing versatility to it. I do want to get the 5-pan My Dream palette that she just launched, actually. I think it would be a perfect little one to travel with, but also just like to have like the basics in there. So we'll see what that palette has to offer, but I'm definitely keeping this. I just love it so much. Another palette I'm probably going to keep is the Natasha Denona Glam. I keep saying the same thing, but I really have to dip into this more. I just have not used it in a bit. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I just don't understand why though. You know, this is like perfection to me. Every time I did use it, I just fell more and more in love with this palette. I'm like, there's no way I'm never going to use it again. Days and days pass by and I just, you know, forget about it in a way. So I'm happy that I'm doing this declutter. I'm happy that I'm really like breaking down my collection. So I'm keeping this, by the way. I know I say that in a lot of declutters, but you know, having 80 is so much more than 50. Having 50 is so much more than 30. Having 30 is so much more than 15. So I don't know, I just have to, either I have to do more shop my stash videos and actually go through my collection, or just have a smaller collection and actually use what I have, because I really have stunning pieces in here that are getting neglected. Okay, next we have the Bronze palette by Natasha. Also one I'm gonna keep. I'll tell you, I don't love this one as much as the other two, meaning like the quality is fantastic, but I just feel like anytime I create a look with this, I'm just like, okay, that's nice, but I'm not like, whoa, oh my gosh. So I do want to keep it. I'll play with it a little bit more. It's a good classic palette to have though, because I feel like these shades just are good shades to have, and maybe I have to fall in love with it again, we'll see, but I'm gonna keep it just because I'm not saying goodbye. Okay, next palette I'm gonna declutter is this right here by Too Faced. This is the Chocolate Bar palette. This, I think, either I'm gonna say goodbye to, like literally trash it, or put it in a keepsake box. I got this, I think, when I was like, well, this is like at least 9 years old for sure. It's like the thicker packaging too. So yeah, I obviously don't use this anymore. Is this even available? I'm not even sure. Yeah, I mean, the shades are actually swatching decent. I remember I used this one a ton. That's pretty good for being an 8-year-old palette. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in my keepsake box, or end up like throwing it out, we'll see. But it's definitely leaving my collection. Here, wait, let me see how much I kept so far. 3, 5, 8, 10. So I'm keeping 10 so far. Like I told you guys, I want 15 or less. And here I have 2, 4, 6, 8 left. So I'm gonna declutter this one. I know that there are other eyeshadow palettes from the drugstore that I feel like I'm like more interested in. I mean, I'm not gonna buy anything like ASAP or anything, but there are two that I kind of have my eye on, and this I feel like had its moment for me, but you know, not anymore really. I think the quality is good though for Makeup Revolution, because I feel like a lot of their stuff are such a major miss. But if you wanted to try something from the brand, I think this is a pretty good one. The metallics are a little bit thick, like, and you have to kind of blend it in a way, but I still feel like it created really pretty looks whenever I used it. But I think I'm gonna say goodbye to that. Next I have this one right here by Colourpop, the Cabana Club. Another really pretty one, but I feel like you can kind of even see from the like frame, I just barely touched this. I feel like I really kept it for this cobalt blue, but if I really just kept it for that, I might as well just get one singular cobalt blue shade, or get the Natasha Denona blue palette, like the 5-pan small one. Well, maybe we'll do that, so it'll be smaller and, you know, like whatever. I do kind of want to keep it because of this blue shape. I'm not gonna just keep it for that. And when I do cover this, it's pretty much your traditional, again, warm tone palette with this pop of like purple down here and then this blue. But otherwise, come on. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've seen those shades many times, so I'm gonna say goodbye. And never really like sparked joy in a way either. I don't know why I kept it in my collection for so long. This I'm gonna end up keeping. So I'm keeping this because my friend and I used to be obsessed with Lizzie McGuire, and it was just like I had a Lizzie McGuire notebook that my father bought me. It goes way back, let me tell you. Yeah, this is, I mean, I do like the color store. I think once, you know, it starts getting warmer outside, I'm gonna definitely pop this out, you know, play around with it and see what looks I can create. The few times that I did use it, I did like really enjoy it. I just don't love this. This is like the PC glitter. I don't think they do that as much anymore because it's just a little bit of an annoying shade to work with. But other than that, everything else is so pretty, and I like that you could use these in threes. It's very nice. Good quality as well. And then also, it's Lizzie McGuire, Hilary Duff. Like, how can you not love her? So keeping that for sure. I have this palette here. This is a palette that yeah, okay. Just gonna repeat myself, I feel like over and over. It's so nice. It's like butter, actual foil. I want to keep it because it's so pretty, but I don't really ever use this ever in my life, like ever. And also I feel like I did use it as a one and done palette. Like I'll just use one shade here and there, but I never like how it looks because it just looks way too foiled in a way. And even when I blend it out, it just, I don't know, it doesn't look good on me. The formula wise, the shades I really, really like. They might even be nicer than the Patrick Ta like foiled shades. Like they just have more of like a buttery feel, and it's just such a good palette, like, and such stunning colors. So I really don't want to say goodbye to this. I think I'm gonna keep it because it's a great one to mix and match with, which I don't really mix and match with a lot, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm very lazy in that way, but I think I have to make an exception for this, or put it in my single shadow drawer and try to make it work some way, somehow. Okay, next we have the Gemini 2. So this is by Melt Cosmetics. I think I remember in my previous declutter, I said, if I don't use this in my next declutter, which is now, I'm gonna say goodbye. And this is somewhat fairly newish. I mean, I've used it a number of times, but very lately because you need so little to go a very long way. And from all of their palettes, I personally think this is the prettiest one. But there's something about this one that I just don't actually reach for it. So I don't know if it's because they're so pigmented and sometimes I'm just scared in a way, do you know what I mean? And then like if I mess up the eye look, it's like, oh, I have to do this whole thing again. So I try to like avoid that at all costs. And coming from me, I love very pigmented shadows, but this I feel like is just extremely, and it's just a little bit challenging for me, I feel. So hey, there's a safety pin here. So I think I'm gonna part ways. We got 3 more palettes. This right here is by Ofra. I think this is a beautiful one. You know, if you do cover this shade, yeah, it's not anything too special. It basically includes like your warm tones with like some bronzy tone shades, a bronzer, blush, and then highlighter. It is an excellent like travel palette, and I think that it's such a cute one. I'm just thinking if it's necessary to actually keep, you know, because I also have these 2 guys here, and this, okay, just a second. So we have this by Danessa Myricks. This is also one that's a little bit challenging for me to use because they're so pigmented and vibrant and duochromy. I'm always like so scared to just mess up the look and it's gonna look weird or off, which I feel like kind of happened once or twice. So I'm like, oh, I gotta, you know, stay clear. But this looks sick. Like this looks insane. I'd have to be literally crazy to say goodbye to this. I love actually doing a winged liner, which I haven't done in a while, and then dotting this on top. It just creates a really cool effect. So I have to get to it again. It just takes a little bit of time, but with this, I kind of have to give it some time because they're so vibrant and they're different type of formula and very unique, I have to say. Plus, I don't own anything from Danessa Myricks, so basically, I'm just gonna stop talking now and keep. And then we have this. So it's gonna be either I'm gonna keep this one or the Ofra. I have this palette by Colourpop and Tinkerbell one. This is kind of similar-ish to this. They're slightly different undertones, but similar-ish family. So because I'm keeping this one, I'm gonna keep this. You know why I'm keeping this one also, even though I have shades like this. These are shades that I typically wear a lot, and they are slightly different, but also These shades, like these purples, are so beautiful, and the formula of this palette is really next level energy. Like, I feel like ABH definitely stepped up their game with the Cosmos palette and this one. So for that reason, I'm gonna keep it, and it would really make me sad to get rid of this one. With this one, you know, a lot of these tones are in the ABH palette, and like I said, it's just mainly this that I would miss, and then these, like I kind of have those, and this I have, so. Anyway, we're gonna declutter this one. Let's see how much I actually kept. Okay, I'm just gonna clean up the drawers. So like I said, I'm probably gonna end up switching up my makeup station here. Again, not throw this out because it's a great piece. But I feel like I just want something different. Put that down. Okay, so these are the ones that I'm keeping. So it does look like a lot, but it's actually only 14 palettes. I'm shocked though, because I never thought I would be that kind of girl. Remember those videos that I used to make that I'm like, oh, maybe I'll become minimalistic? Honestly, you never know. Okay, and then these are the palettes that I'm saying goodbye to. So I'm getting rid of 18 in total, and I'm keeping 14, which I'm very happy with my selection. Also, once I actually organize my makeup, I plan on hopefully filming it. So it's gonna probably be a really long video because I have to show you guys how messy my collection is. It just looks crazy. Okay, and that is pretty much it. Those are my palettes. What? Anyway, so then here are my shelves. It looks insane. I know I'm probably gonna be judged, but it's fine. What is this, toilet paper? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you all in my next video. I will be posting most of these, like I said, on Poshmark, and I have another huge bag of stuff that I have to post, so there'll be a decent amount of goods. So yeah, looking forward to your comments, and I'll see you all in my next one.